While we're getting this presentation up, just a few words. This is great because timing is everything in life, not only in business and startups, but I'm feeling really excited because I have a sense that we're sharing a lot of things which will help me to feel confident that you'll understand this and then feed back to me later on your reaction to it. We've all been educated. A lot of us have started companies. A lot of us are in the media and content business, and all of that stuff is embedded in this idea for Lime.
Well,
down the bottom.
Down the bottom, that one, yeah. Right.
And it's just down there. Right, okay. So, the context for this. Lime is the Library of Interactive Media for Entrepreneurs. And I think I share with everybody a sense that we're in a time of great economic change where a lot of the people that we've given the responsibility to for constructing new ways that we can deliver various things to society are in a state of confusion. What they have a sense of is that the growth that's driven the last 20 years has come to a stop and stalled, and we need to find some ways of starting that up again. So a lot of people, at least the ones in government that I've talked to all around Europe and possibly in India, although I've yet to talk to people out here, have a sense that entrepreneurship may be a part of the answer. So in Europe, for instance, well over 90% of the companies that are registered are small entrepreneurial companies. And there is a tremendous urge in a lot of parts of the world to get engaged with entrepreneurship. The recent research statistics show that over 60% of Chinese would like to start a company. Interestingly, in America it's a bit less than that, but it's just over 50%. Worryingly, in Europe it's well under that, and it's around about 40%. So it's not an even urge across the world. It's not built into everybody's DNA equally to want to start a new company. But nevertheless, a significant number of people want to do it. Also within that sort of context, governments own this problem. They have economic development funds of very substantial size. They have education funds to help people to learn of enormous size, which they implement around the world. And at the same time, education is in danger of being disintermediated a bit. I was in a colloquium the other day in Cambridge, and there was about 70 professors of entrepreneurship brought together from across Europe and from America. And one of them stood up and said, "Do you realise that we may well be out of a job within, fairly sort of history going forward?" Because a lot of people are not going and doing an MBA course anymore. They're starting a company. They're going straight into some of these incubators and fast growth areas. So what are we going to do about it? Entrepreneurs want help, nevertheless. They can't do it. A lot of them can't do it unless they've been serial entrepreneurs without a process of learning. And they can learn on the job and they can make mistakes, and you can say that that's a very positive and strong way to do it. But nevertheless, they have to do it. So what does Lime achieve? It's basically building a very large toolbox of business development tools, of ways that people can look at problems and analyse them, ways they can understand the profile of innovation within their country, and stories that they can learn from. You know, we learn from stories and storytelling in life. It's one of the most powerful ways we can do this. We want to create this toolkit so people can pick and choose and assemble their own menu of things that are relevant to them at the particular time in their life, in their own language, relevant to their sector, to the size of their business and the region in which they're delivering it. We want to also be a part of the collaborative network society. So we want to put people in the same space. So we've developed a prototype thing called the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Exchange, which we've run over a software platform called Ning, with about 650 innovators and entrepreneurs from around the world exchanging solutions, really, and sharing knowledge. As I said, governments own this issue. They have enormous resources to deploy, and we want to create a very simple business model whereby we get governments to pay us to give them the resources that they can then distribute free to people, entrepreneurs in their countries. So the model works basically, and I'll give you just an example. For instance, we're talking to the Hungarian government and the Czech government and the Polish government and a few others in Europe about the idea that we might charge them, let's put it in dollars, about $60,000 a year. For that, they would get access to what will ultimately be a library of about 400 short films about entrepreneurship and innovation, about business incubation methods and approaches, about how to build clusters and keep them going. They will also get access to the tools that I talked about. And the beauty of it is that I don't have to go and sell 10,000 annual subscriptions to people to this. I sell a small number of national licenses, then they give it away. Obviously, the size of the license, the amount of the license is dependent on the size of the country. So you don't sell this for the same price in North America as you would sell it in Portugal. The populations vary somewhat. As part of their license, they get localized content. They need to have some sense that there are relevant stories that can help their own local people. In an ideal world, we would go to them and say, look, if you're a government ministry department that's responsible for business development and trade, don't waste your time making a decision about $60,000. Why don't you buy 3 years subscription? The beauty of this is that this then becomes a recurrent business revenue model. It also becomes something where we can accelerate the development of the localized content. So we can quite quickly put into place content that people can recognize as having a significant relevance to their own country. And we'll offer them, because we're not stupid, the ability to make extra content of a local nature if they want to. And we can do that. We've made films in about 23 countries about entrepreneurship and innovation, about climate change, about the low-carbon economy. We know how to operate internationally. What we're doing now is we own about 40 or so of these short films, which the European Commission was nice enough to pay for, but then gave us the copyright on. I don't know whether they made a mistake, but it contractually belongs to us. We're working at the moment to sign some deals to get going fast. We're raising some money, and I'll talk about that in a second or two. We've got people coming to us who've heard about this. For instance, we've now got a conversation going with the Ministry of Science, Innovation and Technology in Turkey, who are saying, we don't want to wait for you guys to develop Lime. We'll just give you a contract. Just do it for us. And they're saying, what will it cost us? Well, we haven't told them yet, but probably about $250,000 to develop a whole platform for them that will all be in Turkish, that will have Turkish exemplars, that will have everything else that we can do and will do subtitled into their language. So we're talking to people across the whole of Europe. We're talking through the European Commission. The European Union, and this is, listen hard to the number, the European Union has 80 billion euros of unspent regional development funding that they haven't managed to spend. 80 billion. And they've suddenly decided that entrepreneurship is something they should be encouraging. So they've said, we want you to spend 85%, if you're a recent member, on innovation, rather than building roads and bridges, right? They used to spend it all on roads and bridges. They're going to start spending it on innovation support. That could be building incubators. It doesn't necessarily have to be, paying for people to go and do entrepreneurship courses. So there's a little bit of capital expenditure they could do, but predominantly that's going to go into the whole education and business support environment. Our target is to have really a rather small number of national clients, if you like, who will sign up for recurrent revenue with us, who we will make localized content for. We will either license in or develop business simulation tools that they can use, and we're talking to Cambridge University and Yale and Columbia in America to see whether we can develop an interactive media and content-based business simulation tool for the sustainable green industry sector. so that you can watch a drama, you can come out and see some real-time commentary on it, you can have a bit of textual agenda for a conversation, and do all those sorts of things. So that's a quick overview of it. And because I'm not silly, why am I here? Well, I'm here to do two things. One is to say, is there any way we could make this work in India? You know, is there a national government instrumentality that would say, okay, our industry development policy is not working with the innovative startups as well as it might. Maybe we should be redirecting some of the funding in some way. The other thing I want to know is there anybody in the room who, and I've listened, I've been really interested in the way that people have been talking about how to monetize what I would call sort of micro content delivery through mobile platforms. Is there any way that we can bring this and deliver it via mobile platforms as opposed to through educational institutions or business incubators or universities or whatever? So we're here, and we're in the process of trying to raise about $350,000 a couple of £100,000. I can't do the maths quickly in Indian rupees, but to give you a taster of our forecast revenue, we reckon that we can have income in year 3 of about 335 million rupees. We will spend about 102. What does that mean? It means that we make a profit, which is very, very substantial. And because of the recurrent revenue model, we think that we can make this a highly profitable company. So if anybody has got that scale of money or is interested, we'd be very interested in talking to them. If anybody thinks they've got a pathway for us into the Indian market, we want to talk to them as well. Thanks very much.